All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Pack Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, but first, I'm Jeffrey. I got Forrest, Case, and Mike. And Carl can't be with us today, but he sends his love and questions for our special guest, 100 proof Ryan Mantell. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you guys doing?
Great, man.
We've been trying to do this for a long time. I'm glad I'm finally got the chance to do it.
Yes. Since day one when we started this thing, we had to have 100 proof, man. We had to have it. So I'm going to start in the beginning. We all got together and went to our first show for SWE was Carthage. And you come out and you have the eye patch on and Max wasn't there and you had the bull rope and you came out like a freaking Texas tornado, man, tearing stuff up. It was awesome. It was our first look at you, and I knew instantly. I told all of them, I was like, this is my guy. This is my guy right here. Instantly connected. Tell us a little bit about that and what goes into your character or your mantra.
So, man, the feud I had with Max, man, I mean, it was so heated. I mean, you guys know, I mean, and all the SWE fans know, it was so heated. We had so much heat on that feud that when I came out there, I mean, those were actual feelings that I was feeling at that point, you know, because I mean, stuff gets so real sometimes that you're just in the moment and, you know, you become that character. And as far as like, how do I go into being my character, man, it's kind of me, but I just turn it up, you know, and I let myself loose. Once I go through that curtain, man, it's, you know, the light comes on and it's time to be me. And, you know, if you ever see me outside of wrestling, sometimes I'm a little bit, you know, quiet to myself, a little bit reserved, you know, a little bit of an introvert, but you know, once I go through that curtain, man, it's all business. It's time to kick some ass.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that I've said it before, that authenticity, that letting it shine through, the realness of it is exactly what connected me to you and stuff like that. So I was instantly hooked, man. And your feud with Max was incredible. All the shows that we were at that you were on, just insane, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of the reasons you remind me so much of Stone Cold, man. And Stone Cold is the top of the line for me. Is that on purpose? Did you do that by design?
No. And that's the thing, man. Don't get me wrong. Stone Cold is like one of my favorites of all time, you know, especially being a Texas boy, you know? Yeah. But no, man, I've been hearing that ever since I got into wrestling. I don't know why that comes off like that. I don't know if it's the leather vest or what people think. I don't know aggressive style or what it is, but I've never gone out of my way to, you know, try to emulate Steve Austin by any means. But it just seems like I don't know, for whatever reason, people kind of like draw back to that, you know, but and I'm not complaining about it, man, because, you know, he's one of the greatest of all time. So compared to him is, you know, nothing more than, you know, a compliment to me. So
yeah, man, he is the absolute GOAT for me. I mean, it's no question, hands down. I just grew up in that era, and I don't know, man, I don't know what it is either, but I told them the first time, you remind me so much. It's just the intensity level, the way that you wrestle. I don't know, just everything about you reminds me of Stone Cold. So I mean, that's comparing you to the highest of the high for me. So I'm gonna hand it off to these other guys. Forrest, what you got?
Yeah, so speaking on that, so I asked everybody their Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. So I was wondering what yours was.
Oof. Ric Flair be up there. Undertaker, Steve Austin, and I probably have to go with Sting, man. Because Sting's one of the guys who originally got me into it, man. So with the NWO, like that was, you know, that's one of the first things I was exposed to as far as like wrestling goes. And that kind of just got me hooked as a little kid.
Man, that's crazy to say that, because we had Jerry on the last episode, and that's exactly what I told him. Sting is the one that got me into wrestling. I don't know what it was. Yeah. Wolfpack Sting was great for me, man. That's the guy that got me into it. But.
Oh, man, I remember specifically when Sting joined the Wolfpack, man. I was in my room. One of my friends was over, and like once we saw that, like we were just jumping up and down. We were so excited. Yeah. And what's cool is, you know, wrestling's cool because sometimes you get to meet your heroes, man. And you know, I actually got to meet Sting backstage at an AEW event, and I got to tell him, you know, how much, you know, what impact he had on me, basically,
Yeah.
you know, and he got me into wrestling, and it kind of like started the whole wheels turning, getting me into this.
For sure. And that goes perfectly into my question. You've been called up to AEW Dark a couple times. And as Jeffrey said, we're huge supporters of yours. And they don't really watch modern wrestling besides, you know, the stuff that we go to. And I was like, man, we got to watch it. So I would play AEW Dark, just your matches. I would go over and I would play. I believe your first one was against Lance Archer. And we were so excited about it. Can you kind of speak to your AEW experience and getting in the ring with Lance Archer?
First on the AEW, man, AEW, the experience there has always been great. They're so welcoming. Like, you know, I'm not trying to talk bad on WWE or anything, but when you go backstage at WWE, it's very corporate, you know. AEW, it's very much like, hey, what's going on, guys? You know, like, you guys just chill out here. If you want to mingle, you can go talk to some people. You know, it's kind of just on you or whatever. And it's a lot more laid back. That'd be the best way to explain it. And AEW, man, I love the roster, dude. I'm all about AEW right now. I think the stuff that Eddie Kingston and CM Punk recently did, that's some of my favorite stuff that I've seen all year, you know. And Lance Archer. So Lance has actually been, you know, a mentor and a friend of mine, you know, for basically most of my entire career. And it's been kind of surreal because he was, I was a fan of his before I even got into wrestling. You know, I was always a fan of the guys who were from Texas, you know, and Lance, big boy from Texas. And so, you know, that drew me to him. And I remember one time before I even got into wrestling, you know, I tweeted him on Twitter, and I was just basically just asked him, you know, hey, what's the best advice you can give a guy, you know, for getting into the business and everything like that, you know? And he gave me some feedback and everything. And he's basically told me it's a long, hard road and everything. But if you really want it, if it's something you really want to do, you got to go for it, you know? And I don't know if those were the exact words, but it went something a little bit like that. And for me to, you know, not only become a friend to the guy, but have him as a mentor, you know, all these years later, it's kind of surreal, you know?
No doubt. Mike, what you got?
Moonshine, thanks for coming on. I love what you said about all elite wrestling. And typically when we have guests on, we love to ask sort of your beginning, getting into the industry, sort of that journey for you. So can you take us back to where it all first started and really how you've progressed to where you're at today? Sure.
It all started in San Antonio. I went to the it's Texas Wrestling Academy. It's run by Rudy Boy Gonzalez. It's still there. I started my last semester in college because I told myself before I got into wrestling that I had to get through college first, you know, and if I still wanted to pursue it that badly after I got done with my degree and everything like that, I'd pursue it. And so basically, you know, I was going through college and everything, and I was jonesing for it, man. I just wanted to do it. I had to be a professional wrestler. And so by the time I got in my last semester before I graduated, that's when I started my training. So I was finishing up my last semester at Texas State University there in San Marcos. And while I was a full-time student finishing out my degree, I would also go train 3-4 days a week in San Antonio, do like the hour commute back and forth. And yeah, man, I mean, training was brutal. I think they're in the same building now, but the building had, you know, no AC. I started in September. You guys know it's still hot in Texas in September, you know, and no AC, no fans, nothing like that. And it was just a warehouse, you know, and the ring was all busted up, but you know, you learn to work with what you got. And it's crazy, man. It's hard stuff. And it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. My second weekend, I actually like bruised and cracked one of my ribs, man. And so that's basically how I got my start. I would say I probably trained for about 2.5 months and I had my first match. So it was fairly quick and I had my first match. After that, it seems like 2013, that's when I kind of started my career. And 2013 on, like, it was just, you know, go. And the very first year of my career, I owe a lot of that to Rudy Gonzalez, because he put me in the car and it seemed like every weekend he was just like, all right, we're going to Tennessee this weekend. All right, we're going to Louisiana. Or all right, you know, one time we actually drove from San Antonio all the way up to Brooklyn, New York for a show, you know, and then back down to, you know, North Carolina. So it was just, once it started, it's just, I hit the ground running, man, and it hasn't stopped since.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's go. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch a little bit on your personal fitness outside of wrestling, being a personal trainer, changing people's lives, man. It seems like you're very passionate about that. Can you touch on that for a little bit?
Absolutely, man. So with personal training, like the greatest thing I can give someone outside of the whole health, health benefits and all the health benefits I can help people with and everything like that. It's really just giving people that confidence, because confidence, it's valuable, man. Everyone needs that confidence. So once I, have clients and they start to instill that confidence in themselves and everything like that, that's the most rewarding thing to me. I basically chose a career that I knew that was going to help me with wrestling, man, honestly. Once I decided at an early age I want to be a wrestler, that's when I started to get into a little bit more fitness, because obviously, if you want to be a wrestler, you got to look like the guys on TV, So started lifting weights in high school, and man, just kind of fell in love with fitness, kind of self-taught myself. And then once I went to Texas State, that's where I got my degree in exercise sports science.
Yeah.
And man, I've been a personal trainer now for coming up on 10 years.
That's awesome stuff, man. Very awesome.
Okay, so this might be a pretty tough question, but who's been the toughest wrestler you've ever faced in your career?
Whew. The toughest?
The toughest.
Probably Max.
Max
brings it, man. Max brings it. He hits hard.
Yeah.
Man, he hits hard and you hit hard, man. So some of those matches, man, I don't know how either you two walked away from it, man. Standing up.
Right. I still feel that stuff today.
So we're live on Facebook. Mike, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Furman Perez, lead journalist at Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, just asked us to ask that exact question. And we were going to guess Max ourselves, so it's good to hear that. But I think what's on everyone's mind this weekend is the events that happen at World Class Pro Wrestling in Irving, Texas. And you wrestled at that show. And so I wanted to get the reaction to your match against Jacob Fatu, as well as the unfortunate events that transpired with the referee.
So first we'll start off with the things that transpired with the referee, Londo. So Londo is a great guy, man. He's, been around especially that Dallas scene for a while now, man. I've known him for years. What happened to him on Saturday was inhumane. With wrestling, we essentially give each other's our bodies, to work with, and our lives are in each other's hands, so for Hannibal to go that far, man, and damn near kill the guy, like, that's not only unacceptable, that's inhumane. And I hope there are some charges brought on him, because there needs to be justice for him. As far as my match with Fatu, man, it was mentally, it was hard getting back into it after everything that happened with Londo out there and everything. We were all like shooken up, because I don't know if this was, has been told or not, but like, we had no clue what was happening out there. There was no monitors. It's literally like 3 rooms away. There's literally 3 or 4 walls as a barrier. You can't hear anything. You can't see anything, what's going on out there, anything like that. So we had no clue the severity of what's going on with Londo, man. So once we kind of figured out what happened or whatever, it was kind of hard to get back into it, man. So but we went out there, me and Fatu, we tore the house down, man. He brought it, I brought it, and we lit each other up, man. He's a hell of an opponent, man. The Samoan werewolf is no joke.
For sure. And I think I speak for everybody at Pack Podcast. Our thoughts and prayers are with Lando. And if anyone has the funds or just the means to donate to a GoFundMe, it's on our Facebook page. It'll probably be on Instagram here pretty quick. And we just want to say we support Jerry Bostic, fantastic human being and world class. And they're handling it the best way they know how. And it's been great to see.
Absolutely. And I just want to make things clear, because I saw a lot of heat with not only the fans, but a lot of the boys out there, you know, like why wasn't anything done, or why didn't you guys handle it or anything like that? And we had no idea that what took place out there had just taken place, you know. And by the time someone did tell us, you know, kind of smarten us up to everything that had happened, the cops and EMTs were already there. So it's just like, are we going to make it worse by, you know, essentially going to jail? You know, I didn't know how bad it was until the next day I saw the footage that was put out there, you know, and then I saw it and it was mind blowing. You know, I don't know how that even took place, but you know, I wish we would have had some monitors back there, or, you know, I wish there was a way to be up in the gorilla position to know what was going on, because essentially, you know, it could have been, you know, prevented a little bit.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thoughts and prayers out to him. But to go back to your match, man, you and Fatu, two of my favorites to watch since I've gotten into this independent wrestling stuff, man. Absolutely insane. Could we possibly see a feud, Max Moonshine feud with you and Fatu? Is that a possibility?
I don't know, man. You guys got to check with Max. You know, I mean, right now I think Max kind of took a step away from pro wrestling, you know, so I'm not. No, I mean, like a rivalry between you and Fatu, like you and Max had. Oh, I thought I thought you were pitching a triple threat on me. Now, like it's already hard enough with one of them, you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely, man. You might see that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if me and Fatu like had a little feud start going, man.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That's crazy. Mike, you got anything?
Yeah. So I know you mentioned Rudy Gonzalez was instrumental in your career, who helped you early on. Has there been anyone else that has influenced you, really helped you along the way?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Lance Archer being one of them. Lance, like I was saying earlier, you know, Lance is not only a friend but a mentor to me. James Beard has been very helpful. Jax Dane, Ray Rowe. I don't know if you guys know him, but Dak Draper. Dak Draper, he was a Ring of Honor. What is it called? Top prospect winner for Ring of Honor in 2019. And I worked with him in NWL, and I was his roommate in NWL. He helped me out a lot, especially in promos. Yeah, I would say those are probably the biggest ones, man.
Yeah. What was it like being around, and how much did he help Mark Henry? What was it like being around a guy of his pedigree and having that around?
Mark Henry was great, and he was very approachable, and just if you had questions about your match, he was very not only good with like the advice coming back with it and everything like that, but he was very honest. You know, sometimes you get guys in there and you can just tell they're, you know, there and just getting a payday and everything like that. But Mark Henry was really legitimately there trying to get the guys better. You know, he wanted to make everyone better, you know, and he was there. If you wanted to get his advice, man, and you'd ask him, he would get, you know, you would get a straight answer from him. So can't say enough things about him. Absolutely, man. It was crazy. It was a great experience meeting him. We have a question from our co-host who's usually here, Carl. He said he remembers that you wrestled Funaki in a Japan promotion in 2014 in Florida, and he wants to know, how did you like that, and what was that experience like, and how does it compare to today's promotions? In Florida? Yeah. Or he might have had the location wrong, but you wrestled Funaki? I don't know if me and Funaki ever had a match. Funaki actually did. That's another guy who kind of helped me out along the way. He actually got me over to Japan. And that's where I also trained at the Kaientai Dojo for 3 months. Okay, maybe that's what he's talking about. That's probably what he's talking about. So Funaki, sorry I didn't mention him, but he's also been a guy who's been instrumental in my career as well, along with Booker T as well. But yeah, Funaki helped me get over to Japan, and I was able to wrestle and train with the guys at K Dojo for about 3 months. Awesome. Yeah, it was a great experience, man, because I was about a year in at that point, and just going over there and not only learning from them, but getting to train with them and just becoming a better competitor and a better athlete all around. Like it did a lot for my confidence. Yeah.
For sure. You kind of mentioned that your character, so to speak, is just you turned up to 11. So my question is there anybody in particular you modeled your in-ring style with?
Yeah, man. So I always like the guys who are, the guys who made you believe it was real when you were in there. You know what I mean? They made you, when they hit a clothesline, you felt it, their opponent felt it. Or if they hit a drop kick, it's the same thing. I was always drawn to the guys like Steve Austin, like Benoit, like Bob Holly, like JBL, Terry Funk, Mick Foley, guys where when they went in there, it was an intense match. It was a fight, and they made you believe it was real and they made you feel that emotion, so those are kind of the guys who I kind of emulate or whatever. Also, probably a little bit of Perry Saturn too.
Okay. That's a name you don't really hear that often. That's good.
Yeah, Perry Saturn is a guy who I've watched a lot during my career.
Speaking of Mick Foley, what was it like having him at the last show?
Man, it was a childhood dream come true.
Yeah.
And so, not to be long-winded about this, but my first WWF live event when it was still WWF, when I was a little kid, my grandfather took me. It was at the Frank Irwin Center here in Austin, Texas. And before the show, Mick Foley did a signing at Kmart. Kmart's aren't even around now. He did a signing at the Kmart, man. And so when I went there with my grandparents and stood in line and met Mick Foley, got his autograph, got a signed picture for my mom. She was in the hospital at the time. And, he signed the pictures for us and, well wishes for my mom and everything. And from that day on, Mick Foley became my hero, I mean, that's the best way to put it. I literally framed that picture, put it in the middle of one of my walls, and then around it, it just became a big shrine of Mick Foley. And then whatever, apartment I was living in or wherever we were living in, I always had one wall dedicated to Mick Foley, and it was nothing but Foley stuff, man. And, read all his books, and it was just, it was cool because I got to tell him this same story to him, right before he left as he was leaving in the back this past Saturday. So it was really cool telling him that story, man, and kind of surreal,
Oh yeah, a living, breathing legend.
Yeah, and Mick Foley also, he was one of the guys who kind of inspired me to go to college, man. Because growing up, school was the last thing on my mind, dude. I feel like at the age of 10, I just said screw it, and just I just wanted to have fun, man. And wrestling I took over, and between wrestling and sports, that was life, and kind of school was on the back burner,
Yeah.
But then after reading Foley's first book, one of the pieces of advice that he gave to all, aspiring pro wrestlers is to get a backup plan, so that really had me thinking. And so by the time I finally got out of high school, I took a year off, and, I started working, had a full-time job and everything like that. And I was like, man, this isn't what I want to do. I got to get some sort of backup plan so I can start this wrestling thing. So that's what inspired me to essentially go to college, man. And I became the first, person in my family to get a degree. So I kind of owe a little bit of that to Mick Foley.
That's awesome, man. That's great stuff.
So you had mentioned Mick Foley, and everybody on the show, I used to have a Mick Foley shirt I wore to every single show that we have went to. And so when we saw the World Class show and he was on the poster, I was like, we're going. I don't care. I got to meet this man.
Absolutely. And he's such a nice guy, man. So that wasn't the first time I met him before. The first time I met him was actually backstage at a WWE show, but it's just like, you kind of got to like I said, man, like the biggest difference between AEW, WWE, like AEW, you can go talk to the legends and be like, hey, like, I really admire you, or thank you for what you do, anything like that. WWE, it's a little bit different. You kind of walk on eggshells there. You don't want to come off as, too much of like a fanboy or anything like that, So, when the first time I met him in WWE, we talked briefly backstage and everything like that, but I didn't go into long detail, about, you're my idol, dude, or anything like that,
Yeah.
So, it was cool getting to tell him that this time.
Yeah, it was just super cool. And if anyone knows me, I'm super impatient when it comes to lines, especially like for meet and greets. I'm like, I don't care. He had the longest line there. I mean, it's Mick Foley. I'm waiting it out. I don't care. I don't care if he asks me for $200 for a picture. I'm getting a picture and I'm talking to him.
Absolutely.
And we were pulling up to the building and I see this man in flannel. I'm like, oh no, there's no way it's Mick Foley. And we parked right next to a minivan that he was in. So he walked over by our car and I'm over here like a girl. I'm like fangirling. I'm like, there's no way there's Mick Foley right in front of me. It was
awesome.
literally the most like mark out moment I've ever had in wrestling.
He's a big man, right?
Yeah, he is. I was like, man, that's a big dude in flannel. That's the big dude in flannel. but yeah. So one thing I had to ask was, and I try to ask this to everybody, if there a particular dream match you have that you haven't had yet?
Ooh. Man. Off the top of my head, I would say honestly, like, you know, I got to have a match with Bob Holly, you know, and that was probably like as closest to a dream match that I've ever had, you know, getting to work one of your heroes. So I would have to go with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So I'm going to take it back to Demolition at Dean's.
Okay.
You have a steel cage match with Max Castellanos, which ends in you getting bombarded by Charlie Haas, Rodney Mack, and Max, who then come together and create Privilege, which was probably the most mind-blowing moment I've had in 2021. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and what happened? Because the whole ride back to the hotel, I was mind blown. It was crazy what had just happened.
Oh man. So it was kind of just like the closing of one book and the opening of the next, you know, like going from one onto the sequel, you know? So, man, that was a big moment. That match was a big moment in my career. And that was a big moment for me and Max. I know you guys were there and we can all attend to this, how shitty that cage was, man.
Yes. It was so tight. It was so tight.
You had fans lined up along the apron trying to hold it up. I've never seen anything like it.
And God bless you guys for doing that, because I'm pretty sure it would have fell down and, you know, people would have got hurt.
Somebody was getting slammed into it and the zip ties were just popping off. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to end well.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, so that's one thing that sticks out about that match, man, aside from, you know, beating the hell out of each other. But yeah, man, that was a cool moment, man. I mean, not so cool for me because I got my ass kicked by all three of them. All three of them have heavy hands, so that wasn't fun, especially with that chair. But yeah, man, it was a cool moment for the company, you know, at the time, you know, and obviously it was a cool moment for you guys, you know, and with wrestling, man, that's what it's all about. It's creating those moments and telling those stories, and that's literally what we go out there and try to do each and every night.
Yeah, man, you create emotion. I wanted to hop in there and help you out.
Man,
I was a little bit smarter than that, but you know.
Once again, we are live on Facebook. We have questions and comments rolling in. Let's see what everyone's talking about. Furman comment again, and he mentioned your match versus Houston Carson. Can you talk about that one? I think maybe that was at Lions Pride Sports.
No, that wasn't at Lions Pride. Lions Pride is Houston Carson's promotion, but me and Houston, before Houston retired, we had a handful of matches, and Houston was one of my favorite opponents, you know, for a few years there, man. He was really good and a great worker. But yeah, we had a few matches at BOW. We had a match. It was like a dark match at the Evolve show. When they came to San Antonio a few years back. And then we also worked each other a few times in Louisiana and then in the Tennessee too. But yeah, man, Houston's a great worker. I don't know if you guys have seen his stuff with Lions Pride, but he does great stuff with those kids, man. Great production. His facility there in the Bryan College Station area, his training facility is top notch. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or anyone out there has been there and can attest to that. But yeah, man, Houston's doing good things for wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's big time.
So joining us now, who was asleep when I left the house, is my daughter, Autumn, right here. And she's got her Pack Podcast shirt on. And the reason she's joining is because I talked about Moonshine so much coming back from SWE shows that she's a big Moonshine fan. Autumn,
Oh.
what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Autumn?
Who is that, Autumn?
Moonshine.
Hey.
Do what Moonshine does.
You do it? Have her do it again one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Hey,
go.
no, do it right. Do it how he does it. Show him. Like this.
There
Yeah,
we
there
go.
you go. There you go.
We'll screenshot
Awesome.
it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she had to drop in and say hi. She was supposed to come with me, but she was napping.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to Autumn to come say hi to me. It's very nice to meet
Can you say hi, Autumn? She
You are
just
welcome
turned
back
3
anytime.
weeks ago. She just turned 3 a few weeks ago. She's a little shy after waking up after a nap.
Oh, that's I don't blame her. I'm the same way.
Oh, good stuff,
Speaking
man.
of fans, Moonshine, I'll ask you, can you talk about Texas wrestling fans? I know you've wrestled at a lot of places. Anything that makes Texas wrestling fans different?
Man, Texas, I mean, I think this is just about wrestling fans in general, but the Texas wrestling fans have been nothing but good to me. They're loyal, they're dedicated, and they're supportive, man. That's the best 3 words that if I could, if I could describe the scene of Texas wrestling fans here in Texas, man, just very supportive. They're always there. If I like I got a concussion here like about a month ago, man. I got 9 staples in my head. Took a bad bump on a chair, and I had fans reaching out to me every single day, just asking how I was, checking in on me and everything like that. And it's little things like that. They don't seem like it'd be a big deal, but it means a lot to us, because we go through a lot, not only physically but mentally, with the grind with wrestling. So with stuff like what you guys do with your podcast and come to the shows and being supportive, that stuff means the world to us, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was wondering, so how did you come up with the gimmick Moonshine? Is it a nickname or anything?
Yeah, man, it was actually a nickname given to me, man. I got in a fight one time after drinking a lot of moonshine, and it was like just like a joke after that, So I just kind of took that, and I was always a mark for Dutch Mantell, and then Ken Mantell and Johnny Mantell, representing Texas. And Johnny Mantell has also been one of the guys who was very, especially my early part of my career, was there for me. Can't say enough good things about him. But just took that last name, man, and I thought it sounded good together, Moonshine Mantell. And like I said, I respected the lineage of the name, and we kind of went with it from there.
It's the right one. It fits well. I love it.
Thank you.
Guys, anything else?
Yeah, so one more thing, like I said, we got the comments rolling in. Corey, one of your clients, talked about how he just finished up the Moonshine Mass routine. So can you talk about, I know you mentioned your fitness program. Can you talk about what that includes and what that's like?
So yeah, man. So I with Corey, I offer like online training, and it's 8 weeks, not 8 weeks. I'm sorry, it's 12 weeks of training, and basically in those 12 weeks we go through like different exercises and different stages of the training every 4 weeks. But with Corey, man, I mean, the dude dropped. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all just the workouts. He did the thing on his own with like the eating and dieting and everything like that. But with the combination of the two, I mean, he lost over like 20 pounds, man. He lost weight, and he still looks more jacked than ever, which is a hard thing to do, but that's the goal. And yeah, Corey looks great, man. And so I basically do online training for anyone out there. It doesn't matter, what fitness level you're at. It doesn't matter if a guy, girl, child, if you're a senior, it doesn't matter. I've worked with all people of all ages and all fitness levels. So anyone out there interested, just hit me up either on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook Messenger or anything like that. And we can talk a little bit more. But yeah, man, I love my online training, love my online clients, try to keep them motivated. And yeah, like I said, man, personal training's been great for me. It's a very rewarding job.
Best of the best. Results speak for themselves. Man, you said you're going to be at the TSW show. Are there any other upcoming promotions that you want to plug in real quick?
Yeah, so let's talk about the TSW show, Texas Style Wrestling, man. This this Saturday, and that is in. Remind me again. It starts with an A.
Addison, Texas.
Addison, yeah, up in the DFW area, the Metroplex, and it's out in Addison. So guys, come on out to that. They're gonna have an awesome show. I think is this their first or second? This is their second show, right?
First show.
I believe.
First though, so this is the first show. Okay, that's right. And they're doing stuff with Dog Pound Championship Wrestling as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So I'm happy to be a part with them, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. Also, man, so I live up in Kansas City, so I'm doing stuff in the Midwest as well. So if you guys want to check out Journey Pro Wrestling, they're based out of Kansas City. I will be working with them this coming Friday night, taking on Kenny Alfonso. I'm coming for your ass, Kenny. I'm coming for you, man. It ain't no, yeah. Also, DWF, Dynamic Wrestling Federation out of Kansas City. They're a new up and coming promotion. Look for big things coming with them. I know they're bringing Mysterious Q in next month. He's a Texas guy. And then also St. Louis Anarchy. I'm working with them out of St. Louis, man. Doing great things with them. They put on a hell of a show, a hell of a product, man. They have good people behind them. So those are the main three I'm kind of working with up there. Also, check out WrestleMax. I've been working with them as well. KLD. I don't know if you guys know KLD, but big man, big heavyweight. He's running that promotion out of St. Louis. And then also Glory Pro out of St. Louis.
Awesome. Lots of good promotions. You're a busy man. We surely appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with us. And we're looking forward to have you back on, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, guys. Oh, and just for everyone out there, man, if you want to give me a follow, I'm on all forms of social media at Moonshine Mantell. You can find me at Moonshine Mantell. Look me up on YouTube. I'm Moonshine Mantell. Instagram at Moonshine Mantell. Twitter, Moonshine Mantell. Facebook at Moonshine Mantell. Man, I'm all streams at Moonshine Mantell.
Absolutely. Go give our guy a follow, man. Autumn, you want to say bye? Wrap us up.
Bye.
Bye, Autumn.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
man. We sure do appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.